Well, CNBC Africa's Tumisho Grater spoke to outgoing Afrox South Africa Finance Director Nick Thompson about succession planning at the company. Here's a bit of that conversation. Let's take a look.
I think that the difficulty with succession planning is it's always tested when you actually need to do the succession. So from a CEO perspective, we are looking to recruit externally. I think the board had a little bit more advanced notice in terms of when Brett was going to leave than perhaps the media would have made out. So we have been looking for a new chief executive since November last year. The program is very advanced. And it's expected that, well, we're down to a short list of 2 already, and it's expected that we should be able to make an announcement in that regard in the very near future with regards to a future CEO. But from a continuity perspective, one has to remember that Brett's immediate boss is Mike Huggan, and Mike was up to speed in terms of all of the actions that Brett had to carry out, and that was why it was considered appropriate for Mike to step into Brett's shoes until the new CEO was appointed. And he's now carrying out all of the CEO duties that Brett was carrying out before. So there actually hasn't been any issue as a consequence of Brett leaving the company.
How far are we with the restructuring program, and when do you anticipate you might be finished? And of course, job losses, people want to know how many jobs are we looking at here?
Well, basically we identified at the half year of last year that it was unlikely that there was going to be any major volume recoveries in the South African economy, and therefore we would have to row our own boat and have a hard look at the cost that we incur. What we felt was that in a margin of around 20%, we're currently at 14%, would be an appropriate target to aim for. We have an interesting mix of businesses in our overall Afrox business, and that means that we won't ever make the kind of margin that some of the pure industrial gases businesses make, but 20% for us is very appropriate. That would allow us to have a sustainable business and to reinvest into the capital that we need to invest into going forward. What that meant, though, is that we needed to have a hard look at the configuration of our business. People who've looked at our results will have seen that we've actually been quite prudent in terms of cost management over a number of years. So it's not that we've been having sort of 15-16% cost increases which were uncontrolled. In fact, we've been having cost increases this year of under 3%, which against an inflationary environment of 6-7% is actually well controlled. But what we recognized was that to get an overall step change in our performance would mean that we would need to look at the shape of our organization. So to do that, we've brought consultants in, and together with them we're looking at each aspect of our business portfolio, our geographic footprint, our product portfolio, with a way to understanding what we can do to right-size the organization to benefit from the current revenue base that we have. And the intention is that analysis work will be finished halfway through the second quarter of this year, and then we'll move into implementation. And our expectation is that process should be, or everything that we need to do, or at least the majority of what we need to do, will be completed by the end of the third quarter, and at the very latest the end of the fourth quarter. Because when we move into 2016 next year, our preference would be to have this all done and behind us so that we can only look forward to the benefits being received. From a people perspective, clearly there is going to be an impact. You can't go through a restructuring and unfortunately not have an impact on people. There will be, from our perspective, a fairly material loss of people. We're just working through the final details of that at the moment.